Okay, Scott, what are your concerns? Because I think I formed a few from just observations of others. I think I saw a lot more highlights and posts about sacks than I did see about like deep balls down the field. Like obviously there was quite a few. Like Will Shepherd, great catch here.
Right.
Terrell Timmons, great catch on the sidelines, right? But you're naming all these defensive linemen, and I feel like I'm counting at the top of my head right now. It feels like we're at 8 to 10 sacks already, and I don't know how long the thing went. But was the offensive line a concern still, or was the defensive line just that having a good day? Like, what are the vibes here? What are our concerns?
It was a bit of a concern. It was my biggest concern, my biggest kind of negative, so to speak, takeaway from yesterday's practice was the offensive line at times looked a bit too similar to last year's offensive line, and obviously Jordan Seaton on the left side, true freshman, being Shador's blindside protector. There's going to be a lot of onus, a lot of attention on him this season. And rightfully so. He's a talented player, but he's a young player who's going to be, pretty much thrown into the fire. And he struggled a bit yesterday. And again, it's a two-edged sword because when you got to block guys like Deion Hayes, who has 4 years of college football experience, BJ Green, and Tajay McCoy, who's a really explosive pass rusher, you're going to take your lumps, and that's what happened yesterday. But there were more than a few times where Shador was, under duress. That wasn't all Seaton. And that's where kind of my concern comes in, that, especially with how I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a tight end on the field all the time to kind of help one or two of your tackles out with some of those edge rushers, it can get pretty hairy and pretty tricky for Shador, who's, might be wanting to get to a second and his third read and get through his progressions. He might not have all that time, at certain points with some of those guys. So the two tackle spots in particular, Jordan Seaton on the left side and Khalil Benson on that right side, who obviously we didn't see yesterday. Those are going to be, two important spots that is going to determine kind of the ceiling of this offense. And again, we mentioned Tyler Brown. He might have to step in at one of those tackle spots at some points this season. And obviously it probably shouldn't be a surprise that, Colorado added a tackle, just last week, out of the transfer portal, former Florida A&M offensive tackle who they brought in. So obviously they probably feel that it's a need to add, more talent, more depth to this room. And, that was certainly on display yesterday. And again, like I mentioned, I want to emphasize that that defensive line is, I think, really, really good. They have some really, really good pass rushers who are going to give most offensive lines they face some issues. And that was just the case yesterday for Seaton and a few of those other offensive linemen. The interior, I'm not too worried about. I think Hank Zelinskis looked really good at center yesterday. I think he has solidified that starting center spot. Justin Mayers is going to be, at guard, and I think you have a few different options, Tyler Brown included, at the other guard spot. But those two tackle spots, Jordan Seaton in particular, with just how inexperienced he is, that's going to be something that, people have to watch and, kind of be a little bit concerned about, at least to start the year.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through the old Twitter and I'm like, oh, sack, oh, another sack. And then I'm hearing you talk about certain people and you're like, yeah, he had a couple sacks here and there. I'm like, oh, how many sacks do we have? It sounded like there were 30.
And again, it was a vanilla offense.
Right.
There was a lot of quick game, and I'm sure, Pat Shurmur and, Deion clearly said that, they wanted to dumb it down. They didn't want to show too much. And certainly that should be taken into consideration with, probably how frustrated Shador looked at certain points. But it's the reality of the situation. We're less than 2 weeks from the opener now. So, it's getting real.
It's getting real. Okay. Were there any concerns about the defense at all? Like what, maybe a certain corner, certain pass? Obviously the pass rush was fine. What about the linebacker group actually?
Right.
Let's pick on them, because I think I've been tabbing them as the weakest group. Obviously, you had a nice post about Nikhai Hill-Green with the interception, I believe on Shador, if I'm not mistaken.
Near interception.
Yeah. Near interception. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that group good, solid, or were they the wink leak as we've kind of expected?
For sure. So yeah, that linebacker group is probably the weak link of the defense, as I've deemed it. But Nikhai Hill-Green, he's the best linebacker on the team, man. He made flashes yesterday in the pass game, in the run game, a couple, run stops right at the line of scrimmage. He actually got, to your point, he actually got home to Shador on a sack on a blitz that just wasn't picked up properly by the interior of the offensive line. So, but Nakai looks good, and I think he's going to improve the play, whoever lines up next to him at that inside linebacker spot. I think it's going to be Trevor Woods, who Coach Prime was glowing about again yesterday after yesterday's practice.
He loves him some Trevor Woods.
And so do I, man. Trevor Woods can play, man. He's looking the part too. He's added, I think, about 15 to 20 pounds of muscle this offseason, bulking up for that linebacker spot. So I like Trevor Woods alongside, Nakai Hill-Green. Levante Bentley adds some real experience. Jalen Wester, the FAU transfer, brother LeJante, brings some good depth, and so does Johnny Chaney Jr., the FAMU transfer as well. So I kind of like where this linebacker group is at, especially at the top with, like I said, NHG and Trevor. So long as those guys stay healthy, I think they're going to be in a good place to play well with how talented and improved that defensive line is and how good they should be in the back end and the secondary.
Okay, last question before we go. Coach Prime, Robert Livingston, Pat Shurmur, they get together after practice, right? And heading into, because there's 2 weeks now until the next game. I think it's 12 days, if I'm not mistaken, the 29th.
12 days.
What do you think what are the two things? Like, Coach Prime turns to Pat Shurmur and says, hey, we got to get this figured out. Turns to Robert Livingston and says, hey, what do we got? We got to get this figured out. What are those things for the offense and defense, respectively?
Yeah, for offense, it's going to be to stay committed to the run game. Even if even if it starts slow early on, maybe if you have a couple 1, 2, 3 short yard gains, you have to stay committed to it throughout the game. And week 1 matchup with North Dakota State should be a good opportunity for that run game to kind of get some confidence in itself and get rolling. So I think for offensively for Shurmur, I think that's probably one reason why Coach Prime wanted to keep Shurmur in the building, is because Shurmur has a history of making sure his run game stays involved, even if you do have a talented quarterback and some talented receivers.
Right. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, as Scott reconnects real quick, Pat Shurmur has a unique responsibility, because he is someone who, you take a job knowing that Shador Sanders is the starting quarterback. And obviously you have one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and you don't want to sort of, I don't know, take the ball out of his hands. But at the same time, you have to be able to, mix things up. And the stronger the run game is, the better it will be for Shador Sanders. And so I think realistically that's a responsibility. And then I think for Robert Livingston, if I had to guess what Scott was going to say, because we lost a little connection here, I think it's just one of those things where, if you're Robert Livingston, you look at this defense and it's like, okay, we got the good pass rush, and we had a laptop dying situation. So Scott will be back momentarily. I think he's just going to tell us about what they are expecting from that linebacker group, right? Like, they need to make plays, they need to be disruptive, and maybe that goes for the secondary as well. As everyone needs to be disruptive, and so that way the team is maximizing their potential. But we're going to bring Scott back. There we go. Welcome back, Scott Procter, everyone. Defensively, what do we focus on? I said being disruptive and the linebacker group. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would just be staying true to himself and him being Robert Livingston. He comes from an NFL background, and that's something that he's going to have to use to his advantage. That should be a strength of this team. I actually just talked to North Dakota State's offensive line coach yesterday, who was my former, college football head coach for 3 years.
Whoa.
He was just talking to me about, and I asked him point blank, and it's pretty interesting just how challenging it is to scout, prepare for a team that has so many new faces, including a brand new defensive coordinator, a first-time defensive coordinator. And he talked about, just Livingston coming from the NFL background, working with Lou Anarumo of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going to have so many different looks and adjustments and fronts. And that's something that Livingston is going to have to kind of flex his muscles a little bit and give this defense different looks, not allow them to be predictable, not allow an opposing quarterback to kind of be comfortable in what he's seeing and the picture that he's seeing out there in the defense. So I think Livingston is just going to have to just be himself and, bring all the things that he learned in the NFL with the Bengals to this defense and apply it and just use his playmakers, put them in position to make plays, because you have some crazy athletes in the secondary up front at the second level as well that you just gotta allow to play free and just do what they do.
A little controlled chaos here and there. We love it. Okay, thank you, Scott, for joining us. I appreciate you for hopping on. Everyone go wish him a happy birthday. He turned 35 yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. Scott, I appreciate you hopping on. Tell the people where they could find you, because you got a lot of big pieces coming up.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you, man. Y'all can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, right here down below. Scott Procter, ER, not OR, with an underscore at the end there. But go follow my work on the Coloradoan.com. We actually just added a CU Buffs tab, so a home for all Colorado Buffaloes content is now on our site. But yeah, go tune in. Go follow me on Twitter, man. It's about to get crazy real soon here.
12 days, here we come. This has been another episode of Locked On Buffs.